Talk in the Town is an initiative by Nagrika to create a platform for city leaders, visionaries, change makers, people who've gone against the grain in smaller and mid-sized cities to bring policy closer to people. Uh, and we've been getting people who are people working with civil society, individuals, people working with government, uh, who and these are people who have identified that the journey to change begins with them, and there are issues that a lot of our smaller cities and mid-sized cities are facing, and they have taken upon themselves to identify ways in which they can solve some of these pressing problems that our cities are facing. Uh, what we're trying to understand from various such experiences from diverse cities, from diverse contexts, is that how people have identified areas of interface between public policy and policy making, and how they relate with lives of general people, um, and how people-friendly policies can be made. So it's an attempt to humanize policy. And in the past, we've talked with uh, people who, there is a group that does walking trails in the city of Dehradun, and they have, using this critical mass of people who are people from Dehradun, they have been able to create a pressure group which argues for better environment, for better transport. We have talked to somebody who's been leading change in terms of better waste management in the city of Nagpur. We had a person who's been running an organization in Rajkot for last 15 years, which has been paving way for creating more uh, animal friendly policies and getting the role of municipal corporations highlighted, that how they can make life easier for humans and stray animals together more congenial. Uh, we also had a person who's been for last 10 years running an organization in Vadodara, where they have been inspiring youth to think about the environment, making small changes in their city, and working with the municipal corporation as well as smart city to take that change. And it is in continuation of such efforts, we this time have Nigel Albuquerque and Arun D'Souza, who are from Mangalore. And Nigel is the co-convener and co-founder of Mangalore City Civic Group, which is a citizen-led organization, a community-led organization, which has in the last few years led from the forefront to establish ward committees in the city of Mangalore. And they've been able to get the ward committees established, and they are now functional. And we also have Arun D'Souza, who's been a regular member of one such ward committee in ward number 38. And today we are going to talk to both of them to understand the journey that Mangalore City had, uh, identify some of the unique factors that have put Mangalore in that place where it has been able to get these ward committees in place, while so many cities around India have been trying to do it for last 25 years, and also understand from them the successes, the challenges, the opportunities, and the lessons that are there for others. So maybe I'll that's the brief introduction for Talk in the Town, and we start normally with asking our guests about them and their relationship with their city. So if you could briefly talk about how you are related with the city, and what is the this connect that you have with the city which drives you to do what you are doing.
I'm Nigel Albuquerque, co-founder of Mangalore Civic Group. Well, we always wanted to do something of lasting value in particularly in our hometown, which is Mangalore. And what I in particular was observing is that the local government, the local city government, had zero accountability to the people who made the government. That's the people of Mangalore, nearly 6 lakh in population and nearly 4 lakh electors. So it's like, one man or one woman would seek the electors' votes once in 5 years and thereafter run his own fiefdom. No questions to be asked. He would do what he would want to do, or she would do what she would want to do as per their whims and fancies. So 9 out of 10 times, any citizen, any commoner approaching their elected councillor with any grievance or any requirement would not be heard. And corruption was rampant and on the rise. So we, as this is a hometown, as I said, we wanted to find a permanent solution to stem the rot. And we did our homework before we took up this cause. And what I found was that there was a constitutional mandate for ward committees and area sabhas to be constituted. This had taken effect nationwide in June 1993. And for more than 25 years, it was intentionally and deliberately denied to the dutiful tax-paying citizens of Mangalore. Why is anyone's guess. Nobody likes to be asked questions because that makes things uncomfortable, isn't it? So the best way is block it and don't let it materialize on the ground. So this was the only way the people of Mangalore would have any semblance of accountability, responsibility, and transparency from their elected councillor and ensure art of governance, which is of the people, by the people, and for the people. We approached the commissioner of the city corporation in Mangalore. But given that, more than 25 years, none of the commissioners had moved in the matter. I mean, for reasons that are out in the open and obvious, he typically, the then commissioner, was, wavering in committing to get this done, even though it was his duty under the law of the land. Due to our constant follow-ups with the commissioner, who is the authority, he finally said to me to go and get the court order, after which he would implement this. So it was obvious that the elected councillors just didn't want this to happen. They would come, I mean, you know how democracy in India in the last 75 years has been. The common people or the electors are remembered only at election time in general. And at all other times for the next 5 years, it is only selected citizens or privileged citizens who are in sync with the scheme of things on the part of the corporator. They are the ones who rule the roost. So what happened? Vote that the commoner caste and has no value in the end. What happens to it? So, given that we were determined to get this done, when the commissioner said to me to go and get the court order to get this implemented on the ground, we went ahead, filed a writ petition before the Karnataka High Court, and 8 months later, this was in November 2018, and in August 2019, the judgment orders were pronounced for immediate steps to be taken for ward committees and area sabhas to be constituted in the corporation of the city of Mangalore. And the rest has been realized, the subsequent steps rather, till date have been realized only through persistent pursuit with the subsequent commissioners who took over. Failing which, you know what happens with mere court orders, they remain only on paper. So it was based on conviction that we brought the court order, and we made sure through persistent follow-ups that the commissioner implemented it with all the delays involved. So that is, in a nutshell, what we have done so far.
So this is what I think we talked about it 2 days ago as well. And what is it that drives this persistence? What is it that has caused you in Mangalore to stay persistent with following up the cause for ward committees? What is it for Arun that ward committees are formed and you are the one who goes to attend those meetings, and maybe if it was there in some other city, maybe people won't go. So is there a factor there as a citizen of Mangalore? You said that is a hometown. A lot of people have hometowns. Not a lot of people end up doing this. So is there something that is special because of Mangalore, because of the way you are?
I'll ask Nigel to go first, and then I'll follow.
Yeah. See, in the first place, for change to take place anywhere, not just in India, anywhere worldwide, the people who want the change, people who demand for change, have to stand up. They have to stand up for the change. That has not happened in most of the 145 cities nationwide that qualify for ward committees and area sabhas. This is where we were different. We were determined, come hell or high water, we are going to get this implemented on the ground. It doesn't matter what it takes or how long it takes. We are going to make sure that we give voice to the common citizens of Mangalore, so that their voice is heard. If not, we don't live in we would not be living in a democracy at all. There's no real point in persisting with the same old rotten system where the elected representative is not held accountable to the people who make him or her the elected representative. So it is determination. You can use the words determination, conviction, and persisting to logical end. Now you see, the High Court orders were passed in August 2019. It's 3 years. 3 years have lapsed. Yet the persistence levels have only increased over these 3 years, and now that ward committees are implemented in monthly meetings are functioned across the 60 wards of Mangalore City Corporation. It doesn't end with that. What's next? The next is to make the meetings effective. Simply merely calling a monthly meeting and having a namesake meeting is futile. It serves no purpose. So, making the meetings effective. How do you make the meetings effective? Under the statutory provisions, in Karnataka, there's the Karnataka Municipal Corporations Act, and the amendment was in 2011. The commissioner has to notify bylaws. Bylaws pertain to how the meeting has to be held, and a few other aspects as well, such as attendance on the part of the chairperson, secretary, and the members, and any other matter that is not covered under the Act and rules. See, Act and rules are broad guidelines. Now, if you have to get specific for specifics, you have to have bylaws on how the meeting has to be held from start to end. So we are now in pursuit. Our persistent pursuit continues with the incumbent commissioner for drafting and notifying bylaws to make the ward committee meetings meaningful, and that the common man, it should help the common man produce desired results. That is point one that we are pursuing at this time. And the second is, our High Court judgment orders were also for area sabha. It's not only 60 ward committees. Now, area sabha is very important. I would say it is more important than the ward committee, simply because that is the platform. Area sabha is the platform where the common man speaks. The common man speaks at the area sabha. It is like the gram sabhas at panchayat level. The electors of the area, each ward has been divided into 2 areas. So each elector of the area is eligible to attend and speak at the meetings, at the area sabha meetings. In turn, the minutes of the area sabha, of the 2 area sabha meetings within the ward, are forwarded by the nodal officer who provides administrative assistance to the ward committee. It's like the lower house and the upper house. So once the minutes of the 2 area sabha meetings are forwarded to the ward committee, these minutes serve as the agenda for the ward committee meetings. The ward committee then deliberates on the minutes of the 2 area sabhas, and the minutes, in turn, the minutes of the ward committee. In turn, the minutes of the ward committee are forwarded to the council secretary to be ratified during council meetings at the corporation level before implementation. So in short, it is the governance of the people of Mangalore, area sabha via ward committee to the city corporation. So it's no longer one man or one woman having a free run. It is the people of Mangalore who will decide what needs to be done and what should not be done. Yeah, Arun, you can speak.
Sure. I'm going to be a bit more pragmatic. So, see, Nigel is a very selfless person. He's a very genuine, selfless, and a very persistent person. And honestly, every city needs a person like him, right? But I'm going to address mostly the second half of your question about why should citizens go for the ward committee meetings? And I'm just going to appeal to basic human, self-preservation, right? Do it for you. Forget, I mean, it's going to be very cynical, but forget about country, forget about anybody else. Think about your family, think about you, right? If you want personal benefit from your local government, right? Because you are a tax-paying citizen, hopefully, right? Just do it for you. And honestly, even with that very poor, selfish motivation, it will still have amazing results. Like, what I've realized is appealing to people's good nature or being a good person, a good citizen, very limited in India, right? But I tell them, forget about everybody else. Do it for you. You want to see your neighborhood progress. You want to see your facilities, the facilities that you consume. Nobody else is going to do that for you except you, right? 75 years of independence have taught us that, right? We had visionary politicians in the beginning, and we don't. I mean, some of them are still exist, but for the most part, it's left up to the citizen. The citizen has to, if not take action, at least participate, right? The basic tenets, especially in Mangalore, like I mentioned earlier, our roads are in. One moment, there's a bit of noise here. Yeah. Our roads are in a disastrous situation. And we've had one death, had one person die because of a pothole. And I appeal to every citizen and tell them that, do you want to see your father or your mother or your child die in a pothole, right? And if it should be that very simple, selfish reason that you should participate, nothing else, right? Anything above that basic level means you're a better person. But I say that to every citizen of India, that, at least do it for yourself. If nobody else, at least for yourself. And that will help the whole of the country.
Maybe can you take an example from, I think, just to recreate what goes on in a ward committee meeting, and how some of the things that you can do as a person who attends a ward committee meeting or as a member of ward committee meeting can appeal to things which can have influence on my life as a citizen. So maybe from one of the ward committee meetings, like maybe just recreate that what a ward committee meeting looks like, and what are the kind of issues that you can talk about, and what is the kind of maybe not immediate change but incremental change that one can expect through a ward committee.
Sure. So I've been joining ward committee meetings. I think I skipped only one, but I've joined nearly every one of them. In the beginning, of course, there's a bit of confusion. As Nigel mentioned, there are no bylaws, right? So you don't really know how things are supposed to progress. But what we've done is, in the beginning, we essentially started with just the basic issues, right? Each person who came to the ward committee meeting listed out their issues. From there on, we started refining it. Personally, I'll tell you how I do it. When I go to the ward committee meeting, I have a running letter, right? A written letter which I submit to a ward committee member, and I give a copy to the corporator as well. And I get a signature from the secretary, right? In that letter, I essentially cover what I feel are the issues important for the ward, right? Now, we have progressed. Now, what I've done is, based on input from Nigel over WhatsApp. Like, he's not direct communication, but he's been sending us informational texts. We've included the functions of the ward committee. So what we do is we try to base the discussion around the functions that the ward committee members are supposed to do, right? So now there are about, I think, 10 points there in that. What I would advise in a ward committee, right, is structure your issues to be under one of those buckets, right? And of course, if nothing fits, you still voice it out, right? Say that I have a problem with this, right? And then it would be helpful if your neighbors who are also affected by this are also in the same, this thing. So I'll give you an example. Now, for short term as well as long term. For short term, we have this problem where in the Kankanadi Bendur area, which is where we live, we have a massive parking shortage. Like, there's absolutely no space for parking, right? And because of that, there's a very popular restaurant nearby who's having fabulous business, and we're very happy for him. But he ends up blocking the road, especially at night, right? So all of our neighbors during the ward committee meeting, and the ward committee uh, came up with the short-term solution of engaging the traffic commissioner, right, and getting signboards indicating that this is a no parking area. So this is the change that has occurred because of ward committee meeting, right? The persistence on a monthly basis saying that this is an issue, right, has resulted in enforcement, which ordinarily would not have happened, right? So traffic cops come, they fine people, they inform people, all of that happens. From a long-term perspective, we are seeing things like, for example, the planning. Now, the roads, how are the roads going to be redone, right? We've given suggestions. For example, we want ducting for all the utilities. Right now, what happens is anybody wants to do anything, they come and dig the road, right? Indifferently, they make a mess of things and it becomes completely unusable. The ask that I have is very simple. Please create a duct, which is a common standard in national highways, and layer all your utilities there so that tomorrow, if you want to add any utility or do any utility, you don't have to create essentially destruction of lakhs of rupees for this, right? So we're seeing traction on that as well.
Nigel, do you want to add anything on this part, like the pathway that ward committees have created? Like there may be short-term changes, there might be on-spot changes, but also a pathway to more sustained policy level change that is possible through ward committees. And your experience with what has been going on in Mangalore's ward committees the last few months. Nigel?
Oh, you answer for me. Okay.
Yes.
I thought that was for Arun. Okay. As Arun mentioned, there are the functions of the ward committee. There's a list of functions, various aspects. So, first of all, you got to understand that there is that no matter can be turned down, claiming that it does not come under the functions of the ward committee. You cannot, in any act or rules, you cannot list each and every point during the amendment stage. So broad guidelines are mentioned. So whatever the broad headers rather are mentioned. So most of the civic issues would come under these functions. However, as I said, no matter can be turned down merely citing that it does not come under any of the functions. Moreover, any matter that is outside the jurisdiction of the city corporation, even here, for any matter like this, even here, there is a provision in the rules that the secretary of the ward committee issues notice to the other department officials to attend the meeting. Now, for example, there are other departments that overlap in the city administration, such as National Highways Authority of India, or it could even be the police department, particularly the traffic police. Likewise, there could be several other departments. The secretary issues notice. The members have to ask the secretary to issue notice, and that notice is then sent across to the concerned official to come and attend the meeting. And at the meeting, you find solutions to the problems faced. That apart, there is one particular function. You refer to policy, influencing policy at the corporation level. There is one particular function in the list of functions for ward committee that I would say overrides almost all other functions, and that is, it's called ward development scheme. Each ward committee prepares a proposal which is called ward development scheme and submits it to the corporation for allotment of funds. There's the budgeting that takes place for each ward. So how the budget should be utilized for ward development, that is ward development scheme. The members prepare this proposal. Here in Mangalore, the budgeting is done on an annual basis. So you can do this on an annual basis, an annual proposal, submitted to the corporation. In response, the commissioner will allot fund, will budget for it. Commissioner will budget for it and allot funds. And the ward committee, I mean particularly the members, they will ensure that the allotted funds in the ward's budget are utilized for the proposals that were listed in the ward development scheme. So this I think definitely influences policy at the corporation level, because earlier, as I said, one man or one woman would decide what should be done and what should not be done. Here, it is a collective decision of the committee. Further, the ward development scheme is based on inputs from the area sabha. The area sabha submits recommendations for ward development scheme, what should be included, what the people want. The ward committee computes all those points together, submits the ward development scheme, gets the funds are allotted and implemented. There is no rocket science in this.
Has Mangalore already seen a cycle of?
No, not yet. Not yet. 5 meetings are up. The 6 meetings are on. Okay. Ward development scheme has yet to take shape. What has happened so far is, in the 5 meetings held till July, people have been voicing out their grievances through the members, and in some ward committees, the chairperson hears everyone who comes for the meeting, who attends the meeting, because finally the chair decides who should speak. So if the corporator is comfortable with hearing even non-members, I mean, no one can stop him, right? So, but this is not a practice by all the ward committees, and technically it is correct that only members should speak during the ward committee meetings. If the ward residents have any matter to be submitted, they should be submitting to the member in writing with due acknowledgement. And the member raises the matters during the meetings. The secretary records the minutes of the proceedings of the meetings. And in the next meeting, the following meeting, the secretary provides an action taken report on the minutes of the previous meeting. This action taken report also has not really been practiced. As I said, what has been done so far in 5 meetings is either people submitting in writing to the member or speaking when the chair lets them speak during the meeting, and or the members even speaking, and the secretary recording the minutes. This has been followed, broadly followed.
Can you
But
can
the
you
action taken report on the minutes of the previous meetings is yet to be put in place. That is it is crucial, so that the meetings develop meaning. And the more important aspect is the ward development scheme. It is like you're planning what should be done and what should not be done for at least 1 year.
so
And you are monitoring how the funds allotted are utilized.
can you
This is
talk a little bit about
very important.
can you talk a little bit about the kind of issues that people have been raising in the ward committee meetings? Like maybe it'll give us an idea about the kind of things that people can
Yes.
actually talk about.
It could be, it could, there are a range of issues. It could be pertaining to drinking water supply, or it could be solid waste management, or underground drainage, or roads, footpaths, stormwater drains, even even the billing and taxes. And I would say in 5 meetings, it has been more of grievance redressal without action taken report. But the positive side is, where there were no ward committees, there are ward committees.
There's a forum. Okay.
So what needs to be done is making the meetings meaningful and effective, for which we need bylaws. And we also need area sabha, because so long as a limited number of non-members attend the ward committee meetings, the corporator or the chairperson can hear everyone who attends. A small number. It could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 15. I don't think it'll exceed that at this stage. But what happens if 100 people turn up? Can the chairperson hear all the 100? He'll have to spend the entire day, or at least most of the day, doing that. This is where area sabha comes in. A different platform for the ward residents who are not members of the ward committee, and another platform for the members. These are initial stages where as I said, small number of non-members are attending. So there is a possibility that everyone speaks. That won't happen when the numbers increase.
So what is the typical attendance? What is the typical attendance in ward committee like right now?
That's another good point you raised. Not all the members selected have been attending all the meetings. There are some who attend off and on. There are some who have not attended a single meeting. And there are others who have attended each and every meeting. So there's a cross section when it comes to attendance.
So they are general citizens as well in the meeting?
Yes, non-members also. The ward committee meetings are open to the public.
So how many?
Anyone can attend. You can attend not just your ward committee meeting. You can attend any of the 60 ward committee meetings under this rule.
So what would be like the number of people in a typical ward committee meeting? The range, like the attendance and the largest attendance.
Again, as these are the initial stages. Apart from the members, the non-members could range between 5 and 10, sometimes 12, but definitely not more than 15. Members, as I said, not all members come. In some committees, most of the members attend. In some, you find only the minimum quorum being met. So all of this points in one direction. And this is creating awareness, educating the people about their constitutional right. No doubt we have taken the lead. Mangalore Civic Group has led the cause, and we have done the impossible of 3 decades. We have made it possible on the ground. But do all the 4 lakh voters of Mangalore know what ward committee is, or what area sabha is, or how they can improve their conditions, their living conditions, by participation, citizen participation? I would think most people have heard about ward committee, but not area sabha. And very few people understand the true meaning of ward committee and area sabha. So it points to educating the people. People have to be shown how the ward committee is beneficial to them, how the area sabha is beneficial to them. This is a completely new system. Our people, even though they are educated in Mangalore, they have been accustomed to following one man or one woman. You will be surprised, in the ward I belong to, 31 Bijay, the secretary failed to issue meeting notice. A 7-day advance notice with agenda has to be issued for each and every meeting under the rules. The secretary failed to issue the notice for the June meeting, and no meeting was held in June. I realized that people are not abreast of the act and rules, and this being my ward, I took the initiative, prepared a letter under the rules, wherein the rule which refers to what should be done if and when a meeting is not held, a particular meeting is not held. I drafted the letter, I got it ready, and we contacted the members. There are 9 members, and you will be surprised, only 1 member out of 9 was willing to sign the letter. Whereas on the other hand, 10 non-member ward residents willingly signed the letter. This raises a lot of questions. On one hand, you see it is ingrained in the people, no matter how educated they are, to follow the corporator. Why they declined signing the letter is, the members, why they declined was, they felt that if they signed the letter, they would be going against the corporator. So you see how they are accustomed to listening to the corporator. Corporator's word is final. I was trying to drive home the point that this is the rule, and we have to follow the rule. We are here to hold the corporator accountable, responsible, and make him and also transparent for his actions. But no, it did not break any ice, did not cut any ice. And finally, 1 member and 10 non-members signed, and the letter was submitted. The commissioner took action, and the July meeting notice was served, and now it is back on track. So, first and foremost, people should read the act and rules. It's not some legal terminology that commoners would not understand. It is very simple language. The Amendment Act of 2011 has a mere 6 pages. The rules of 2016, Ward Committee Rules 2016, is a mere 4 pages, 10 pages in layman's language, which anyone who reads can understand. People have to read this. And then maybe they can be assessed and they should score at least 70% is what I feel. But all of this is yet to happen. There's no escape to reading and understanding and subsequently practicing what is written in the act and rules. This is fundamental. So because of this, there are lapses found. Most of the members selected do not know what their role is, what their duties are. So the biggest challenge that is going to come up in the future is going to be making the members aware and educating them. How do you do that?
MPG is doing?
Now, how do you do that? The best way to do it, or most effective way of doing it, is they should read the 6-page act and 4-page rules. If they have questions, they can always ask, and and we will give competent answers. Or they can, or if they are more comfortable going to the commissioner, let them go to the commissioner or the nodal officer and ask them, and they will be given proper answers. So until you know the rules of the game, you cannot play the game.
But
you cannot drive a car without a driving license, can you?
If they don't join, is it like there is no penalty? Like if
they don't join
the meetings.
You mean if they don't attend the meeting?
If the members don't attend the meeting.
This again points to the bylaws,
which have not been.
We will have to include a bylaw for attendance on the part of the chairperson, secretary, and the members. In my view, I have said this to the commissioner very clearly, that if a member fails to attend 3 meetings without approval, say from the commissioner or from an officer appointed by the commission, then such members have to be disqualified. And because it's meaningless to have absentee members who are not interested in coming for the meeting. And the replacements will have to be chosen from the lot that was not selected, and commissioners agreed for this. Apart from this being the first time applications were invited for membership to the ward committee, again, people rushed and applied under the general and women category. There are 5 criteria to be met. Apart from general and women, 3 general and 3 women, there are 2 resident associations to be met, 1 SC and 1 ST. The reserve category, there was a paucity of applications for the reserved categories, and an excess number of applications were received for the general and women categories. That is the reason why many people got disappointed when they were not selected. You can select only 6, but if you have 30 applications, what are you going to do?
I think we're coming to an end to this leg as well. So I also want to ask you what we discussed briefly last time. Is the difference between a Mangalore and say a Mysore or Hubli in terms of getting to do what you have done. And
Mysore, a few people in Mysore. Sorry.
And from building on that, if you can also talk about what should they learn from your experience.
Yeah. A few activists in Mysore, following on what we had done in Mangalore, they also went to the High Court and filed a writ petition, and a few months later, the judgment orders were out. They went to their commissioner, and the commissioner said there are no proper guidelines to move ahead or to get this implemented. And he wrote to the higher level authority, which is the Urban Development Department in Bangalore, for guidelines to be issued. And that was it. Now, what I would have said if I was in their place, now, if, for example, if it's another matter that our Mangalore City Corporation Commissioner did not do this, he proactively moved ahead in the matter, even though there were no proper guidelines. But if he had acted the way the Mysore Commissioner had acted, I mean, the way he acted, I have said to him that you can write to the Urban Development Department asking for guidelines to be issued. But till the time the guidelines are issued, if you are going to maintain a status quo and not move ahead in the matter, it will be a disservice we would be doing to the people of Mangalore. Hence, instead of delaying the already delayed process, already delayed system, you go ahead and implement the new system in the best way you deem fit. If there's a lacuna in the law, if there are no proper guidelines, no problem. You go ahead and implement it in the best way possible as you deem fit. In the future, when the government or the Urban Development Department issues guidelines, then we can look into which guidelines are not met from what was done earlier, and then take up corrective action measures. Instead of this, the Mysore Commissioner has conveniently sat back and saying, let the guidelines come and then we move. So you see, there is a lack of persistence on the part of the activists who brought the High Court orders. Again, this is the difference between what we did in Mangalore and what they did in Mysore. They thought you get a High Court order, show it to the commissioner and sit back, everything will be done. No, it doesn't happen that way. See, what are we promoting? We are promoting institutionalizing citizen participation as per the Act. Now, when you are doing that, you yourself have to be proactive. You have to go ahead, participate, persist, and only then you will get what you want. Whereas here in Mysore, after the judgment orders and all this, the commissioner wrote to the Urban Development Department, the UD in Bangalore, and everyone sat back. So if there's no persistent pursuit, it's not going to happen.
So, Nigel, for Mangalore, I just want to also ask that, is there an ecosystem within Mangalore, which includes you, of course, which allows you to be persistent, and that you are there, and are there other moving parts of MCG or of the you use the term activist, but what are those various forces, strengths, skills that have allowed you to, then do you have a lawyer, do you have like media, like if you can also talk a little bit about that, what does this ecosystem look like which has helped to keep up this momentum?
Frankly speaking, the ecosystem is a few select individuals only. I would say majority of Mangalore citizens are still not aware about the benefits of ward committee and area sabha. And we leading the cause knew what exactly we wanted, and we persisted in the matter. We had an advocate in the High Court, but after that, we have not had any advocate. The local press and media have been supportive. But taking the lead is for us. If you don't ask, you don't get, you don't receive. So the ecosystem is here in Mangalore was a few select individuals leading the cause, which is under the banner of Mangalore Civic Group. So it has to come from the people. It has to come from the people leading the cause initially. And once implemented, it has to come from the citizens.
So,
And that is how you build the ecosystem.
I think we are again almost at the end of this call as well. So what I also want to ask you is that what does the road ahead look like for you? What is that you
The
have achieved?
road ahead is positive. The very fact 60 ward committees are implemented. Everyone thought this was an impossibility, and we made it possible. Next, we'll get the bylaws and area sabhas also done. And then, as I said, finally, we'll have to create awareness. Corporation will have to come forward. We can support and create awareness among the people. Why they should go for these meetings, why they should attend these meetings, how they can make a difference to things around them in their ward, in their area, and in their neighborhood. So it will take time, but with time it will all fall in place. And the best way for the word to spread is word of mouth. Keep telling people. See, the best way I would say is someone tells you there is a civic issue, someone brings it to your notice. That is when you inform him, you educate him about ward committee and area sabha. How his or her voice will be heard through these platforms, and encourage them to go and attend the meeting. Do it once, see the results, and then you will do it again.
Yes. So you were, I think, what I was asking was that what does the road look like, and you were talking about making people aware, and that's the, I think, one of the last parts that I want to kind of ask you to build on. That do you think is stopping people right now? Like for the members, one can understand that there are, restrictions or mental blocks from the corporator side, but for citizens,
Even the
what is
citizens,
that stopping, and what can make them come?
yeah, even the citizens. See, we call ourselves a democracy, but in practice, it is far from a democracy. The citizens also, just as the members, are accustomed to following the corporator. Now, suddenly, for them to make a U turn and start questioning the corporator, making the switch, that is going to take time. This is not something that can be done at the push of a button. The very fact that when we went and said to the commissioner that what has been done all these last 25 years is wrong, you have to do it this way, this is the way we want things to be done, that itself we have I mean it was obvious we would face resistance, right? Because you have had a well-oiled system, a well-oiled machinery that has worked very fine for so many decades, and then suddenly someone comes up to you and says no, this won't do, this is not to be done, and instead it is to be done the other way. So making this switch, I mean, we were confident, we acted based on conviction, but the common man may not have the same level of conviction. So how do you make the common man switch? I would suggest, on, as I said earlier, on one hand, they have to read the act and rules, know the rules of the game before you play the game. Encourage, promote that on one hand, and on the other hand, where, as I said, even this, as I said before, someone draws your attention to a civic issue. You say to him how the ward committee or the area sabha will help him out, will help find a solution, which otherwise the corporator would not give him. Encourage people to submit their grievances in writing to the ward committee members with due acknowledgement, and also tell them, inform them that the member will raise the matter, your point, during the meeting. The secretary will record the minutes of the proceedings of the meeting, and at the next meeting, the secretary provides an action taken report on the minutes of the previous meeting. So you follow up on that. People have to come forward. You want a solution, you have to come forward. There can be no complaint without a complainant. So nothing nothing works without the people coming forward. You want change, you want solutions, then you come forward. You don't know how to move ahead? Okay, open the act and rules, read through. You have any questions, you ask and clarify, and you learn, and then practice it.
Is there also a
This is what citizen participation is all about. Citizens have to come forward. Don't expect the administration to come forward. They have not come forward for 3 decades.
is there anything, is there a silver lining that one can also say there is for the corporators? Because looks like that the corporators are reluctant, or they feel that there is some kind of a turf issue. But is there a way in which actually they can be convinced that this may actually make their work easier, and it's not necessarily to create a competing area of work, but maybe it can help
I
streamline.
would say, again, I would say, even the corporators, who are the chairpersons and the secretaries, should be abreast of the act and rules. Don't follow what the people say, don't follow what the corporator says, and don't follow what the secretary says. Follow what the rule book says. That's all.
Does the rule book imply that it could be a tough issue for the corporators, or is that a unmanifested
Is
fear?
if the member is asking a question for the sake of accountability, holding the corporator responsible for his actions and making him transparent, why should the corporator feel uneasy about it? He would feel uneasy about it only if he has something to hide, isn't it? After all, whose money is at stake? Who's the taxpayer? So the taxpayer reserves the right to question how the money he paid as tax has been utilized, isn't it? So why should the corporator feel threatened? Be honest, no? This is a democracy. We are living in independent India.
I think that brings me to the end of
I
most of
would
the
say, Tarun, I would say
Hmm.
the corporators I mean, many of them are already in sync, and the ones who still feel uncomfortable will will come in line, will be brought in line shortly, when they will realize that you don't go to the people only for votes once in 5 years. You've also got to give them the right answers to the questions they ask you. That is what the spirit of participatory democracy is all about. I would say alien, completely alien, I should say, in 75 years of independent India. Now we are making a start, uh, taken the first step here in Mangalore. Hopefully, others should come forward. See, you can't spoon feed here. Citizen participation is a concept where it has to come from within. The local people have to come up, have to come forward. You cannot go and act for them. They have to act for themselves. So give up this fear that the corporator is a ward monarch and we can't ask him questions and all that. If you are living in that fear, then I think uh, democracy is meaningless. Uh, you have to hold him accountable, ask him the right questions. Be assertive but not aggressive. Get your point across through a parliamentary dialogue. But at the end, the objective has to be met.
I think that's
So, I think Tarun, you had even said to me that this is the only example of its kind anywhere in
yes,
India. Huh?
yes.
What we have done in Mangalore.
That's why I think uh, a lot of people are looking at Mangalore to carry forward with this initiative that you have started and you've gotten to this end. And we wish you all the best to carry it further ahead and meet the other
Yes.
logical conclusions that are there. And I think through this platform, we make sure that we talk about it even more, because a lot of
Yes.
these lessons, I think we have had discussions through phone call and through, I think, localized media, but I think at a national scale, there isn't enough information about the actual things that have gone behind the scenes to bring it to fruition.
Yes.
And the story of the challenges and the success, I think that is worth sharing. And a lot of cities, as you said, 145 cities are the ones which can actually learn from this example, as long as you
Exactly.
have people like you inside the city who can lead the good fight. uh, and in the end to also realize that it's not a fight, it's something which is for your
I
own.
wouldn't say I wouldn't say what we have done in Mangalore is perfect, but I would give it a two-thirds pass. A two-thirds pass. In other words, two-thirds is satisfactory. The remaining one-third has to be ironed out. You cannot achieve perfection at the start. It is a process. It has to evolve. It has to mature with time, and people have to be made aware. That is the crux here is awareness and educating people about the merits of the ward committee and area sabha. And Mangalore is what we have achieved in Mangalore is indeed a model for the remaining cities to follow. There are about, in fact, exactly there are 145 cities that qualify as per the 2011 census. And I'm sure there are no ward committees in about 140 out of the 145, if I'm not mistaken. So, what Mangalore has achieved is only because of citizen persistence. You have to stand up. There are no two ways about it. And likewise, the people of Mangalore have now to follow and stand up for themselves. It will take time. You cannot bring a systematic change in a short span of time. But the effort has to be on. Step by step, we will be able to scale heights.
Thanks.
And just one other point, Tarun.
Yeah.
Given that Mangalore has been leading the way, according to what you had said to me, there's no other example anywhere across India in recent times. Some kind of recognition and award program would need to be put in place to encourage the torch bearers to move to the next level.
Yes.
So I guess there are no such programs offered anywhere in India, and hence, if Nagrika and could look into negotiating with corporates, because from the government it's not going to be easy. I won't say it's not possible, but not going to be easy. But the corporate sector would be, the private sector, the corporates would be more effective and to bring about some kind of awards and recognition program wherein torch bearers for the cause of citizen participation are encouraged and supported. So it's like, from the feeling of being all alone on your own, you begin to realize, once you have such programs in place, you begin to realize that yes, society is indeed supportive. So rather than leaving such torchbearers on their own, if they could be streamlined and through the right channel and brought under such a program with corporates, it reserves the potential of producing greater heights.
Absolutely. I think we discussed this, and
Yes,
this is something that we're going to pursue. And again, congratulations for leading this.
Thank you,
Yes,
Tarun.
please go ahead.
In fact, I hope I have addressed, if not everything, at least most of our action here in Mangalore. Or is there anything else that you feel I need to throw light upon?
No, I think we've kind of covered the entire spectrum, starting from your November 2018 petition to
Yes.
the present, where we now have, we actually have ward committees, and I think we will come back again once the area Sabhas also get formed.
Bylaws and area Sabhas,
it
should take a. I would think bylaws and area Sabhas should happen within the next 2 months or so. And then things would be better streamlined.
I think we will maybe do a small follow-up after that as well. We can always do that to continue with the initiatives that you've taken.
Yeah.
But I think for now we're very happy to have covered all the things that we talked about, and I think it's something which is not out there, which has not been shared very extensively, and we hope to be able to be a facilitator in doing that. And I think what
so
a lot of people.
I'm actually very pleased and very happy that Nagrika took notice of our efforts. It's like you're leading a cause for the sake of the people, and the people the people don't really take notice of what you're doing, because when they are not fully abreast of the matter, they wouldn't be able to take notice. So it's a pleasant surprise actually that you and your team at Nagrika have taken notice of our torchbearer efforts in Mangalore.
I think it's our pleasure, and we are actually privileged to have known so many such efforts. And as they say, no, that a lot of good fight is like golfing, where people are alone. And as you were saying, that if there are more people that come to know about who are doing the same thing, that you don't feel so alone. So
Yes,
it's each other that we've got, and that's the reason that we definitely, when it comes
nothing
to
to
smaller
stop.
cities.
See, now that there is this High Court judgment which we won, and then there's also another judgment that has been won for Mysore. Now people don't really need to go to court. You just make a reference to these judgments and ask for implementation, isn't it?
Yes,
It's all the more easier for people going forward.
correct. You paved the, I think the precedence is there. So
Yes.
thanks again, Nigel.
And again, Tarun, no one really paved the way for us, but we are happy and elated to have set up a platform for others to take off from.
I was thinking about there is this line, famous Bollywood dialogue of Amitabh Bachchan, where he says that हम जहाँ खड़े होते हैं लाइन वहां से शुरू होती है. And I think that is kind of a motto for Talk in the Town. The people that we are actually finding, they are essentially the people who have a corollary of that line, that jahan se, where we start stepping, that's where the path of change starts. And I
Yes.
think that's what a lot of people like you who have started. There is no road, and start stepping.
Where there was no platform. Exactly. So where there was no platform, we have created a platform.
Exactly.
Now it's so easy for others to use the platform and board the train, isn't it?
Yes.
All that is required is conviction. The same words I have to use: conviction, determination, commitment, and finally persistent pursuit till logical end is achieved. The 74th constitutional amendment itself is about coming forward and participating. So from leading the cause to the actual citizen participating in the ward committee and area sabha meetings, it's all about citizen participation. And that is the best way we can develop and progress into an inclusive society, and far from all the political and social evils that coexist. And people can be directed on the right path so that it only benefits everyone.
Thanks again, Nigel.